And let's start the show! Hey everyone, I'm Jeff from InThirdPerson.com, a personal look at video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. And, whoa, we are playing some Fire Emblem Three Houses, and also, that Nintendo Direct, what is going on? That was a lot. There was a lot going on. That was a really strong show. Sorry, I'm moving the headphones in weird positions on my head, because I can't adjust the volume, and it's on full blast. So, lots of stuff came out of that Direct. Some stuff that was heavily rumored that finally got revealed, lifted the lid off of some games, some brand new stuff, lots of ports of older stuff as well. The Switch lineup this quarter is looking really strong, I must say.
White Cloud.
Alright, so, also we're playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I can't remember where we left off. Oh, we fought our first monster last time, right? I think so.
As cold air begins to creep in from the north of Fargus, Fodlan welcomes the riches of fall.
And yeah, we should start covering some stuff off the top here. I don't have a list in order. I was actually in the middle of my commute when it happened, so I watched the start of it on the train, walked to the car, listened to it in the car, and ended it in a parked space. And I got to see the very end. So I saw the Animal Crossing part. So Animal Crossing is getting crafting in it. That looks very good and a smart addition to the series because, yeah, you're collecting stuff all the time in that series, and being able to add more things and get more use out of them is really smart. Yeah, being able to make tools and items that can help you explore things you wouldn't be able to see, or collect items that you couldn't get before. Good idea. Hey Ian, how are you? And I know you're here all the time, and I'm not gonna try to pressure you. If you want to skip the ads, so hashtag sold out.
Seteth's younger sister Flayn has gone
Uh-oh.
missing. At present, all we know for certain is that she has not left Garreg Mach.
Flayn's gone missing. We gotta find her.
Flayn is not the type of person to just wander off on her own without telling me where she is.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's September right now, and no, I'm not gonna do that on you.
We have searched the monastery thoroughly, but have found nothing. I am now mobilizing the knights to begin searching the town. Troubling rumors have been running rampant lately.
And also, I can't really advertise September because I don't have the... My emote's not ready. I had a level 2 that I bumped down to level 1 for the promotion, and it still hasn't been approved yet, so I can't actually, like, tell you guys, hey, go subscribe to the channel and get this emote, because you're not going to get an emote right now. So, I need to stop talking about that. How are you doing this evening, Ian?
There are rumors of someone prowling the streets and attacking innocents night after night. The knights have investigated the matter. They have not discovered any remains, nor have they found any concrete evidence.
The people are panicked. They all insist someone called the Death Knight is coming to claim their souls with his blade. There is no way she could have escaped unscathed if she were captured by such a fiend. Where is she?
Seteth, recall that impatience begets error. Please do your best to calm yourself. I think of your sister as family as well. You know that. You have my support. We will devote ourselves fully, mind, body, and soul, to recovering her. Professor, your mission for this month is to help find Flayn.
You're good. Ready to settle in for the evening after a busy day.
The knights have the town.
Yeah, I had a really busy day as well. I normally don't talk about work stuff because I'm technically not allowed. I can't. There's not really much I can divulge about my work in this particular forum, but I had to learn some brand new skills today on the fly, and it was horrifying.
So finding Flayn is our mission for the month, I take it?
I did figure it out, though.
Wait. Who's Flayn?
Seteth's little sister. Surely you've seen her flitting about the monastery. She is the girl who looks about the same age as me, but seems well beyond her years. Seteth is much older than Flayn. He's always looking out for her. He must be worried sick. If I were to go missing, I can't imagine what that would do to my brother.
When searching for something, it's best to start by gathering information. Hopefully someone has seen Flayn.
Also, ah man, I forgot to switch the camera there. You guys missed that whole entire cutscene. I'm sorry. Rookie mistake. That's okay. We've got it fixed now. Can we just get to like the fighting? And oh, okay. It's Petra's birthday. Of course, we have to invite Petra for tea. All right, guys. Let me show you how to put the moves on these girls.
You have my thanks for giving me your spare time. I have gratitude.
I hope she likes the tea. I mean, I knew she'd like the tea, of course, because I'm just a smooth operator like that.
Yes.
I think she's gonna want You Seem Different. She's from Brigid. She's got the birthmark thing. Yeah, see? Got this. I know how to put... I know how to spit game. Also, I'm playing as Girl Byless, so... I mean...
What?
Cooking mishaps, cute monks, thanks for everything. I don't think she's much of a... Yeah, there we go. Yep, I knew all along. Knew all along. Last but not least, we got this.
Yes.
Classes you might enjoy, a place you'd like to visit. First card, I think classes. She's very, studious.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go! Alright, here we go. Grand finale.
The ocean is far from Garreg Mach. I am feeling a bit lonely at times.
Oh, you're lonely.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. I miss the ocean too. Perfect. Ian also says, every time someone says I picked their favorite tea, I'm like, yes, I totally did that on purpose. I have no idea who's perfect tea. And of course, I gotta give you guys the view, right? You guys have to have the full experience here to the point where... Let me just kill my camera here a bit. And, where's the other one? Closed caption. You need the full experience here.
Perfect temperature. Professor.
Alright. Also, this part's creepy as hell.
Do you have curiosity about my mark?
Alright. Let's give her a gift. A training weight, a whetstone, an owl. Let's go with the owl. Everybody likes the owl feather.
This is giving me
And I should turn my
joy.
camera back on. Where am I? Webcam and close capture. There we go.
I will be waiting happily for you to be inviting me again.
And Randy says, time to look uncomfortably close at your students. Yes, hey, how are you doing? And also the Nintendo Direct, guys. I was just saying before the stream started, I was on the train as it started, and then I walked to the car while watching the whole thing, trying to not walk into anybody. Then I listened to it in the car, and then what did I do? And then, yeah, I ended up watching the very end from a parked space. So I got to see, like, Overwatch on the Switch, a little bit of... I can't remember what came right after that. Was it Luigi's Mansion? I can't remember what it was, but I saw some stuff, and then at the end I saw the Animal Crossing part and the Xenoblade bit. Alright, so let me go and Luigi's Mansion right after Overwatch. Okay, yeah, I saw those first two, and then I had to go in the car and drive home. Nobody here needs to class up right now, so that's fine. I think we're okay on items. I mean, maybe shields. Yeah, like Claude doesn't have a shield at all. Oh, we have some supports. Oh man, we got lots of supports. Alright, so while these are going, we can talk about things. So, Overwatch on the Switch.
Meat is the best. Veggies and fish are great too, but
coming out in October. It's got gyro controls. I only saw it on my phone, and it was not the best connection. Did it look good? Like, I saw it looked pretty smooth, But, like, tell me it's like 60 frames a second and the graphics look okay. I'm honestly so excited for gyro controls in Overwatch. Awesome!
No wonder you're so skinny. My little sis eats more than you. Come on.
You offer me half-eaten scraps? The nerve! With manners like that, even a nobleman would be an absolute disgrace. Have you no dignity?
You're pretty touchy, huh? It's probably just because you're hungry.
Raphael, please, do you mind? I cannot enjoy the simple pleasure of a meal in these conditions.
Why can't you enjoy your meal? You don't like what's on the menu? You wait here. I'll go to the kitchen and find something tastier for you.
That won't be necessary.
I don't think you get it, Lawrence.
The trailer looked about the same as PS4. Okay. I was surprised we didn't see at least one Nintendo skin for Overwatch. Yeah, that would have been nice. I think that's because they have to standardize everything across all the platforms, and maybe in hopes that they can get crossplay at some point, that they don't do Nintendo exclusive stuff. But it would have been nice. I would have loved to have seen something Nintendo
Quite the contrary, unfortunately.
My webcam down a
The
smidge.
more time I spend eating with you, the less likely we are to become friends.
The more you eat with someone, the more you learn about them. Their likes, their dislikes, you know? You might get some of their food that way too. You can eat more and bulk up.
Rocket League has Nintendo skins, they just don't show up on other platforms. Okay. I wonder maybe if it has to do with like the loot boxes and people paying. I don't know. Nintendo specific skins would be nice though.
Observations of character at the dinner table.
Should I do the support conversation? Yeah, you guys got... And then Luigi's Mansion multiplayer.
There is a matter of significance I'd like to discuss with you.
I was not expecting that. Up to 8 players. I'm gonna guess it's not gonna be that good, but maybe it'll be better than we think. I think it'll be just like a side thing, and there'll be a couple levels, like 3-4 levels.
I'm not so sure.
And it's not gonna be a fully fleshed out thing, but it's a nice add-on.
I'm busy. Stuff to do.
Now hold on just a moment. House Ordelia will never benefit from such a narrow-minded mentality.
I was under the impression you were interested in me as a person. What do house matters have to do with anything?
As it stands, the bonds between Alliance Lords are quite weak. If this state of affairs persists, I'm afraid those bonds may dissolve entirely. House Ordelia
sorry,
may
I
be
skipped
small,
that.
but a small house is fettered by fewer obligations than a larger one. Apply yourselves actively in diplomacy, negotiate wisely, and you could do much to help maintain peace among the neighboring lords. The recognition of those lords would benefit your house immensely. To that...
Yes, yes, of course. When the time comes. But right now, I'm quite busy. Maybe later. As it is, I'm studying magic for the benefit of the Alliance, and I would appreciate it if you left me to it.
Ah, I see. Then forgive the intrusion. I will take my leave of you for now. But if there is any way I can be of help to you or your house, I hope that you won't hesitate to ask. After all, as I'm sure you know, the
Lauren's
future
always
of the
playing the
Alliance is
politics.
my responsibility.
Jerk.
The future, he says.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion, I'm excited for that. Coming out in Halloween. I came away very impressed playing it at Fan Expo this year. What? How are you just gonna drop a bomb like that? How does she not have a future? I know I talked over her whole thing, but now I'm intrigued. Man, there are so many supports.
Lawrence, at it again.
Hello, Hilda. Are you training too? If that's the case, I may have to revise my opinion.
What else happened? There was Smash Bros. So we got Terry Bogard from SNK, King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, coming to Smash. I'm excited about that. I've only played a little bit of King of Fighters, mostly on the phone, actually. There's King of Fighters on iOS. That was actually pretty decent.
I just left something here. I don't share your tireless work.
But I think it's cool to have like that era of gaming represented in Smash 2, since Smash is basically just video games, the fighting game at this point. And then hearing more DLCs coming is a really nice plus as well.
The rigors of training seem paltry by comparison. Besides,
admittedly though, I haven't really been buying the Smash DLC, and I don't know if I'm going back to that game anytime soon. It's good, it's just not for me.
I see, but I was wondering, Never mind. You're clearly.
And then
busy.
Banjo-Kazooie, they're out right now.
Oh.
So
is there
that's
something you
a good one.
What do you need?
I know a lot of
There is
people were
nothing I
clamoring for
cannot
that,
handle.
and
Oh, the trouble is, I'm no.
That's weird.
good at fighting. I'm
I'm
fragile
not
young
the
lady.
biggest,
I didn't even want to join the
not the
academy,
biggest
honestly.
Banjo-Kazooie
My
fan,
brother made
but
me.
I also never really gave it an honest try.
Of course. For a delicate flower such as yourself, no doubt battle must present a terrible.
Also, I think the games. Let me know if the game seems a little loud relative to my voice. The volume looks a little higher than I'd
Truly
like.
does. So I was wondering if, in the next training session, you do my fighting for me. I mean, I can put on a tough, I'm actually fighting kind of air, but that's not quite enough on its own.
Please, leave all of the difficulty to me. I shall permit no harm to befall you.
Ah, I'm so happy. In that, you know, Lawrence, you're a good guy. Not that I'd have expected anything less from a noble.
With each of your foes that I vanquish, I shall only become ever stronger. Yes, leave it all to me.
Ugh.
What a guy. And all I had to do was ask. Maybe I'll have a snack.
Oh, Hilda. Okay, I'm gonna put the volume down a touch just in case. Oh yeah, this is like loud. How many more support? I don't want to do all of these. But you guys need to know the story too, right?
To find the analog of your beauty in nature, I can turn only to the lily. Only that flower is so sweet and so
many supports, yep.
Your loveliness. Why, just look at these soft, delicate fingertips you have. It is as though they could blossom into fragrant lilies before my very eyes.
As much as I want to skip these, this is actually you either unlock no supports at all or all of them at once. Yeah. As much as I want to skip these for the purposes of the stream, like one, it's you guys can see the stories. I know Ian, you've played the Golden Deer and seen this stuff, but like I haven't seen this stuff. And I've seen like most of the levels, like playing the other houses, but I haven't seen the supports, and this is like one of the big differences between the three, so I really should be paying attention to these parts.
You're so wild about flowers. Why don't you try a flower show?
Oh,
Wow.
That was... I'm sorry I saw that, but I am so glad I saw that.
Oh, did you not realize? I was only testing her. Any woman who is taken in by such simple flattery is ill-suited to my noble disposition.
That totally makes sense. You gotta experience the parts of the game that are new. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you explained it, because I thought you just got rejected. Just flat out, no way to make yourself feel better.
Alright, here's a
about it.
question for you, Ian.
Rejected.
And I guess Randy too. Of the things that were announced today, like what are the things that are like, yes, I'm buying that day one?
And the reason, your nobleness, is because that is really not the way you go about hitting on a girl.
Oh, is it not? And I...
Pay
Oh,
attention,
jeez.
kid. Maybe you'll learn something. When I saw you, I just had to come over and say hello. Because finding you here feels like fate. Maybe we could go get some tea. Get to know each other better.
I think you must have mistaken me for someone else. Someone who cares. Please excuse me.
Exquisite. Simply masterful. When is the wedding?
That's weird. Girls usually fall for that speech. You must have spooked her.
To think that the noble House Gautier would be blessed with such a graceful and charming heir.
Please. I'm a much better heir than a self-important failure like you.
Wow.
This is not worth my time.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
And Ian says, Tokyo Mirage Sessions for me. I didn't have a Wii U, so I missed out on that game. And to my understanding, it's essentially a Fire Emblem and Persona crossover, more so than Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, okay. That one's a good one. I actually bought that for my brother Randy for Christmas a couple of years ago on the Wii U. I had no interest in playing that one myself. Just the JRPG-ness of it. Wasn't up my alley, but maybe at some point I'll give it a shot. Now it's on the Switch. Like, who knows? I'll play almost anything on the Switch, to be honest. Overwatch is going to be a big one for me. I know I don't need another version of Overwatch, but I love the idea of playing Overwatch portably. That's why I play Paladins, because there's no Overwatch. Though I think I would still play Paladins even with Overwatch. And Randy says, what I played was pretty good. Not exactly my thing, but fun to try. Okay. Oh yeah, then your thoughts on Tokyo Mirage. That's that. Got it. Of this list, some other things I was excited for. Anything that I was like, I have to buy this. Like, I know I'm getting Luigi's Mansion. I know I'm getting Pokemon Sword. It looks like my wife is really interested in Pokemon this time around as well, so we're probably getting Sword and Shield. She doesn't have her own Switch, though, so I don't... Maybe she wants a Switch Lite for Christmas? I don't know. And she's already joked it's going to be totally the Homer Simpson situation of getting Marge a bowling ball that he really got for himself. Little Town Hero. That one is coming out a lot sooner than I thought. Like, I thought that would have been a 2020 game, and that is out next month. Like, Game Freak releasing games a month apart from each other. That's crazy to me. Dude. Oh my goodness. Alright, we're gonna do like one more. Actually, no, yeah, we'll do one more. We'll kind of split these up.
Claude, why didn't you say anything?
You were praying so fervently, I didn't want to interrupt.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I wasn't praying.
No? What then?
I was just thinking about the goddess.
Were you now? Fascinating. Please, go on.
Not here. Let's go somewhere else.
Her?
So, you were pondering the existence of the goddess, then?
Yes. All right, consider this. The archives here have all kinds of texts about the goddess, right? But when people tell stories of the goddess, it's only myths and legends that glorify her.
Yeah, I wonder... I wouldn't have expected it to release before Pokemon. I'm excited for it, but an October release means that it's likely waiting till Christmas for me. I hear you. The calendar is getting really packed with games on the Switch that I'd want to pick up. Randy says he's excited for SNES titles. Yeah, that... Like, when I was going through that list and I was watching it, like, while I was hearing it, it was like, oh, these games, they were listing off the games, and, like, I've played all these, they're all on the SNES Classic, and then they showed Stunt Race FX, and I was like, yes! Yas, queen! I mean, I've only played Stunt Race FX once, but it's always one of those games like, man, this one never came back, and for Stunt Race FX to come back is a really nice touch. So I'm glad that Nintendo hasn't forgotten about that particular racing franchise, and it's going to see another day in the sun. I'm also glad that they're not charging extra for that.
Under some secret rug somewhere.
And you're really hoping for Tetris Attack / Panel de Pon.
Claude, don't put words in my
I
mouth.
think Panel de Pon has a decent chance of coming.
I was just
definitely in the Japanese shop. On the North American side, maybe? I don't know how much Japanese is in there, and I don't know if they care.
Looks like? Well, I suppose if she really exists, she probably looks a lot like us.
They probably can't release the English version, but they might be able to get around releasing the Japanese version. That's what I was thinking as well. Like, we definitely can't use Tetris Attack, but Panel de Pon with the Nintendo characters could work.
Claude, please stop. The goddess I imagine is
They're already releasing Japanese Puyo 2. So yeah, there we go.
I'm sure that old woman was lovely.
Personally though, I want Panel de Pon 99. Give me Puzzle League 99. That would be incredible. Alright, well that's the last support we're going to do for now. Let's go explore the monastery. I'll break up the supports. Oh my goodness, there's so many people to talk to. Okay, let's go talk to Claude. We're gonna make a beeline for him and just get this stuff down.
Oh? No sign of her leaving the monastery, huh? That is, assuming we can actually trust that information.
Oh, but I'm sure this space has no shortage of secret passages and hiding spots.
True. For now, there's not much we can do aside from making a thorough search of the monastery.
let's ask around and see what we turn up. You never know who might have seen something.
Can I ask you a favor?
Yeah, let's go take this quest. And sure, let's give... Just cuz. Alright, let's go start talking to people. I was gonna say something about the Direct. Oh, the thing I personally geeked out for. One of the things I geeked out for. There's a couple just like surprises that were like... that kind of got to me. But one of those was Doom 64. Like, I played a little bit of Doom growing up, but the one that I haven't played since that I always think about is Doom 64. That game was a lot of fun, and it's never come back since, so...
I hope you're up for a challenge.
To be able to see that one come back is really nice.
Professor.
They're all... Oh, you already said that. Marianne's got a quest too.
Dear goddess, please watch over Flayn. May I ask a favor?
Help horse. Okay, so we got to talk to a whole bunch of people here. Yeah, that era of shooters. There were a lot of shooters on the Nintendo 64, even considering the fact that it only had single analog stick before we figured out shooter controls on a controller.
Let's see. I can't believe Flayn
like
just
the
disappeared.
Turoks.
I don't like it one
I like
bit.
Turok 1 and 2 are out on the Switch right now. I have to pick
are
up
you
at
here to
least
see
Turok 2
someone?
at some point.
Alois and Shamir and all the knights are gonna head into town soon. I learned all cleaning. I'm happy to help you out with anything you need done for you. You betcha. Since, you know...
Hey, we got Cyril on the squad now. I'm pretty sure that's not who we're actually supposed to talk to, though.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
See.
Yep.
I can't... Oh, Alois and...
Oh, yeah, the love letter.
Thanks, Professor.
There we go. Actually, while we're out here, is there someone I can talk to quest-wise? Oh, yeah, they're all here. Yeah, so what we talked about. SNES games coming to the Switch. I'm glad that they're not charging extra for that. Having those games in there, like there was rumors that they would cost extra, and that would have made things really confusing, but I still think Nintendo's backed themselves into a really weird corner where as they add value to the service with the different consoles and stuff, can they continue to charge how much they're charging right now? I feel like at a certain point it becomes not worth it for them to charge as little as they are for the amount of games that they're offering.
I haven't much to go off of, and perhaps it's out of line for me to feel so uncomfortable, but something has been bothering me for a while about Gilbert.
Sketchy
I feel
Gilbert.
as though I've met him somewhere before. I also noticed him staring intently at Annette once.
Alright, I don't have time to recruit all these people.
Hello.
Alright, Linhart, what you see?
Flayn? No, I haven't seen her. She's been abducted. Oh, you're looking for her. Sorry, my mind was somewhere else. I just recently learned she has a crest. Did you know that, Professor? If it was a particularly rare crest, I could imagine Professor Hanneman would have quite an intense interest in her. Oh, no, I'm not accusing Professor Hanneman of abducting Flayn.
Everybody got their theories. Armchair detectives here.
Child napped. That is what you are thinking?
And Ian says, I never use the NES service, but I may actually bust out one or two of the SNES titles. Yeah, the NES stuff that they put out is... I mean, some of those games are some of the best games ever, but a lot of those haven't aged particularly well, and they've been released and rehashed so many times that, like, I just can't be bothered. And then the online play, like, yeah, being able to play some of those games online sounds great, but then the online's still bad because it's Nintendo. So I just haven't really gotten much use out of it. But the Super Nintendo games hold up a lot better than the NES ones.
I must have admittance. One person has been catching my eye. Shamir is a knight not like other knights. Her movements are being reminders of... No. They remind me of warriors of Brigid. Before she was here, what was she getting up to?
Actually, you know what?
Flayn... Shamir before...
Let's ask her for assistance.
Yes. Training, but...
Hey, Professor, have you seen Manuela? I saw her running off somewhere in a terrible hurry. I wonder if it has anything to do with Flayn's disappearance. Do you know, Professor? Oh, yes. Didn't you know? She was the senior diva in our opera company.
I found it really interesting that Deadly Premonition 1 and 2 are coming back. I've heard some very divisive things about that game, and I don't know what to think. Like, I watched video of it, and I'm just like, wow, this looks like the worst Resident Evil knockoff of all time. But there are people that swear that game is incredible. And not only is the original coming, but the sequel is coming too.
Nice
I didn't.
work.
Why would Nintendo bankroll a sequel to that game? I don't know. Interesting. I'm not going to complain about more games on the Switch, though. The more games, the better. And it's great to see some of the bigger third-party games. Like, Overwatch is such a huge win for the platform. Even if you don't like Overwatch, just the fact that here is one of the biggest video games in the world from a third party that's now coming to the Switch in an environment where Nintendo hasn't really had that third-party support. And we thought it wasn't going to get that again on the Switch because we believed that the horsepower wasn't there to support those games, but it's there. The games don't look the best, but it works, and they play well enough.
Do you think she's really been kidnapped?
And people are okay to make that trade in graphical fidelity for convenience.
I hear Tomas has been going around asking about her, but he's probably just worried like the rest of us. Though it wasn't
And then,
just
yeah, other
Flayn.
ones, the Assassin's
He was
Creed
asking about you
4
and
and
Captain Gerald,
Rogue,
too.
Return of Obra Dinn. I mean, that's an indie game, but still, that one's another cool one. The Boss Rush, had I played it, Game of the Year. And maybe I will actually play it this time around. Busted in. Alright, Raphael, what do you know?
I hope Flayn isn't going hungry. If someone really kidnapped her, I'll never forgive them. Now that I think about it, I saw Aloise hanging out by the pond not too long ago. He was always getting
I know,
in
Ian,
trouble
you
for
kind of
trying
grew
to
up
talk to
mostly
Flayn,
on
you
like
know?
Nintendo 64 stuff. Did you play a lot of the Super Nintendo at all, or
It's probably a crazy thought.
have an
but I'm starting
opportunity to
worry.
catch up on that platform and some of the stuff that was on there? Either on a SNES Classic, a Virtual Console, or anything like that? Or maybe you have the original, I don't know.
Ah, you're looking for Flayn's kidnapper. I can't say anything for sure, but I do have suspicions about Yuritsa.
That
There's
Yuritsa.
something about how he's handling his blade lately. It seems more impulsive than usual. It couldn't hurt to try speaking with him at least. At this hour, I think you'll find him sparring with Catherine at the training grounds.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Thinking.
Go down.
Hey there, Professor. Did you want to talk? What? Me? Abduct Flayn? You can't really believe I did that. Well, this may sound silly, but I was too scared to even look. I couldn't bear the thought of finding her in its depths.
What brings you here? I'm taking a break. Is this about Flayn? You find me suspicious. I was somewhere else, fighting. Is that a problem? I understand that I don't fit in among the Knights of Seiros, but that hardly links me to Flayn's disappearance. You seem busy. I'm busy as well.
Alright. And then Ian says, yeah, I technically started with the Nintendo 64, but I got an SNES at some point afterwards, and I had it through most of my childhood / teenagery. I played the heck out of Mega Man X, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario RPG, and there were some other great games I played for it as well. those are some great choices. Mega Man X is arguably the greatest Mega Man game of all time. I think Mega Man X and Mega Man 2 for me are like neck and neck. Side note, not at the Nintendo Direct, but the Mega Man 0/Mega Man ZX collection looks really intriguing to me. Like I have the Mega Man and Mega Man X collections from the GameCube, so I don't really need those again, even though I'm probably not gonna plug in my GameCube anytime soon. But the ZX games, I largely missed. I played the first one, and I was like, this is incredible. And I got to the last boss and couldn't beat it at the time. But those, I remember that first game being so good, and I would love to play more of those. So at some point, I think I would pick those up. It was a really interesting mix, because it was still Mega Man X in its style of gameplay, but then it was more of a Metroidvania. So like if you take Zero and put him in a Metroidvania, what would that be like? And that was that.
Young Flayn's disappearance is most troubling. What? Who would suspect me? You know what? I'll tell you who. A fool. That's who. Alas, Seteth would never allow that. However, while Flayn's major crest of Sethlene is rare, there are others who possess it.
Okay, so it's not you. And yeah, for me, the Super Nintendo was, like, I started gaming on the NES, but the Super Nintendo was the platform where I really learned about games and got really invested in the medium and the hobby, and I bought a lot of games on the platform and got really invested in gaming at that point. And for a long time, I've held that as the single greatest video game console of all time. And I think there are some close contenders. I think the Xbox 360 is right up there. And I think when all is said and done, the Nintendo Switch could be the single greatest Nintendo system of all time.
I will do what I can to support the search.
I think the Switch has so much going for it.
Seems that you are a bit suspicious.
It's got...
Might I ask your reasons? It has been 2 decades since I last knew Gerald.
Well, we'll talk about this in a sec.
Looks nearly identical to my memory of him. It is only
I think it may not be... Okay, in a sec, let me finish this.
I assure you, there is nothing more to it than that.
It may not be like the bleeding edge hardware platform, at least not horsepower wise. It is bleeding edge in terms of the utility of the device and being able to play it at home or portably all in one. That's huge. And I think the big thing is the software lineup. It's ridiculous. When you look at Nintendo's first party offerings, they've almost hit every one of their first party entries out of the park. Zelda has been amazing. Mario's been amazing. Fire Emblem's been amazing. Splatoon. ARMS. Mario Tennis. Like, Mario Tennis became the single greatest selling tennis video game of all time. And that one was really good.
Did you hear about Flayn? It's just one thing after another this year, I swear. Of the lower ranked
all the indie games that are coming out, all of the...
If they find anything, I'll know. What?
The third-party games that are now starting to roll around. It took a little bit, but getting like The Witcher 3 is crazy on the Switch.
Well, I'll let the knights know.
Getting Overwatch, getting Rocket League, like so much good stuff. Doom. Okay, is there anyone else I need to talk to? Oh, we need to go here get the stuff from Marianne. Oh, we should also plant some stuff. Let's go plant some flowers. There we go. go give Marianne that good stuff.
I didn't mean to trouble you.
Hop over to the second floor. Hopefully just a couple more. Like, man, this is a tough game to stream. And it makes me... I don't know if I'm going to finish this whole thing. I find it to be a difficult game to stream.
Because of Flayn's disappearance, all of the knights are searching non-stop, but we haven't found a single lead. Seteth's face is getting paler by the minute. It's hard to watch. What's that? You're looking for Manuela? Well, I did pass by her earlier. She was carrying something. A mask of some sort. I'm not close to the guy, so I can't say for sure. But come to think of it, you could be right.
Sure, I'll let you train me. There we go. Let me ride a horse.
Teach. Thanks. That was a big help. Professor Manuela ran off with Professor Yuritz's mask? What could that possibly mean?
Well, that's suspicious. Sounds like we should try talking to them.
Professor Yuritsa is almost certainly in the training grounds or his quarters. Where was that again? Oh, over on the eastern side of the Knight's Hall.
Alright, actually, yeah,
well,
there's some important stuff here. Serious business right now.
Thanks.
Again, so we're 1 for 1, putting the power moves on. The Angelica tea.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I make you wait? I ran as fast as I could.
I knew you would, Claude. Man, just getting lost in his eyes right now.
Thanks.
Tell me you love the tea. Tell me you love it.
It's so relaxing.
Okay. Okay.
Oh?
Mighty weapons? Okay. I still don't feel like I have a full grasp on what he likes.
Oh?
Equipment upkeep, things you find romantic, guessing someone's age. Okay. Whew.
Oh?
You're doing great work. Yeah, Claude would want it. What? Claude doesn't want to hear that? Oh, man. I was trying to be nice, bro.
I'm afraid I've stayed too long. Thanks for the tea. Let's plan to do this again sometime.
Oh, we will. Oh, we will.
Huh?
Alright. So I know once we go to Yuritsa's room, some stuff's gonna go down. So let's take care of all this stuff first.
Hey there.
Anything to repair? Oh yeah, we should repair that iron sword.
Is this it? There you go. Is this it? There you go.
No, I don't have to repair that iron lance. Ooh, definitely have to repair that.
Is this it? Is this it? There you go.
Everything else I think is in good
Come
shape.
back anytime.
Alright. And do I need... Yeah, I feel like I could buy some shields for people. That might help.
Welcome. Come back soon.
That's the item shop, right?
Welcome.
Okay.
This one? Thank you. 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 This one?
Alright. We just bought a whole bunch of shields. Let's go see what we can do, and then we will actually start the mission. Not going to bore you guys with any more talking. Even though Fire Emblem is still all talking. I think he only needs a leather shield, because he doesn't stand in the front line all that much. You need an iron shield, though, definitely. Raphael's already got an iron shield. That's good. Cynthia's holding on to a bunch of extra stuff she does not need. Hilda definitely needs a shield. And Leonie could probably also use a shield. Store that, and we'll give you the other leather shield. Alright. Let's go fight.
Professor?
Were there any other things of note to you from this Nintendo Direct? Like, anything we haven't talked about yet that you're like, oh, we should talk about this?
Knock, knock. Is anybody... Whoa! Professor Manuela!
I heard a scream coming from here just moments ago. It must have been Professor Manuela.
She's unconscious. She was clearly attacked by someone.
Hey, it kind of looks like Professor Manuela is pointing at something.
So we follow where she's pointing, and...
Of course I give...
What do we have here?
I just realized, like, Claude's gonna have to lead this mission.
What is the meaning of... Wait, is that Manuela? What happened here? We must take her to the infirmary immediately.
Tetris 99's new mode is interesting because it separates out the elites from the main mode. So, is that an optional thing? Like, do you have to play Invictus mode if you've won before? Or is it an optional thing?
Right. Hold down the fort for me, Teach. I'll be back once we get Professor Manuela taken care of.
It's an optional thing. Okay. Because I was planning on doing something Extra Life related leading up to the marathon involving Tetris 99, but if I have to play it in Invictus mode all the time, that might change how the parameters of this program I had in mind worked.
Right.
And Ian says, I originally thought Claude left this mission because I forgot to get to the cutscene by going to Juritsa's room. Naturally, I know now this isn't the case, but I was kicking myself for not doing that at the time.
Don't be a coward, Ignatz. We'll be fine, as long as we stick close.
Oh.
You're right. What should we do?
We've got to investigate. Lead the way, Professor.
The culprit could be hiding inside, so let's be extra cautious.
Yeah, Extra Life is coming up faster than I think.
Creepy down here. Smells.
It'll be on November 2nd. We'll be streaming for 25 hours straight.
They're unconscious.
Unconscious. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll talk about Extra Life in a sec.
Yes, it's Flayn. Oh, but there's someone else too.
Someone is coming. That's Scythe. Could it be the night we fought at the Holy Mausoleum?
That sword. You must be. One of us will die. The other will live. I will enjoy this dance of damnation.
Alright.
My thank you so much.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
I have gratitude.
Oh, Extra Life, yes. November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd, we're probably going to start around 9 a.m. this year. We started at 8 a.m. last year. Probably going to start it an hour later. Just to give me a little more time to set up. It is a pretty big operation getting the Extra Life stream going upstairs. I have to move all the computers, all the game consoles, the games, build everything up. Is there not a set start time? Technically, no. I think actually last year they said like Extra Life is advertising starting at 8 o'clock, which is why I started at 8 o'clock. I think we're going to start at 9, just to give me a little more breathing room. And give you guys a little more time to get in. And so, yeah, I've started, I've put out the request to the squad if they're going to be available again to participate this year. It's going to be Party at My House. We'll be streaming it the entire time. There'll be a lot of different games we're playing, all in support of Extra Life. I actually got the new... If you look at the Twitch channel below, there's actually the thermometer below with my progress so far, which is not great. It's only $5. But starting on the 25th, we will be advertising Extra Life stuff non-stop here. I've got the... I actually have... Some of the stuff is ready to go. Like, I've got the bit.ly link in the corner over here. With the tracker and all that. That's going to be going up. And there's a Tetris 99 related thing that I'm not quite ready to talk about just yet. Hope you can find a new night shift person. Yeah. Randy, you were the MVP last time doing that night shift. I'm not exactly sure who that's going to be yet. I would like to take it, but I feel like then I would need to get rest before then. But then, like, those are like primetime hours too, so I was so looking forward to doing it this year. I know. Actually, should I have Petra in here? Like, Petra's gonna be better than Cyril, but Petra's not gonna stay on my team, and I would rather have him learn than Petra. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Who do I want to send this way, though? Maybe Hilda? Okay, we're going to do Ignatz as the archer. And I think Sylvain. Yeah, I'm going to need Raphael up here. That's what we'll do. And let's see how that works.
Professor, we need to defeat the Death Knight and then rescue.
And so yes, the big marathon is going to be on November 2nd, but if you feel like donating now, that would be greatly appreciated. The link is below in the Twitch channel, and you'll get a nice notification on the screen here and everything, and kids cheering and all that. Alright. Let's get this show on the road here. Finally doing some fighting, jeez.
Stay focused.
I'm on it.
Wow, someone died right here.
Ready anytime.
Alright.
Who, me?
Okay, so Hilda would get clipped here.
Who, me?
Ooh, definitely don't want that.
Leave it to me.
Send her here. Send Leonie over here.
Ready when you are.
And here. Back to the Nintendo Direct. One more time. Overall, did you guys think that this was a good showing? I thought this was pretty strong. They showed some new stuff. Actually, pretty good amount of new stuff that we didn't know about yet. I mean, lots of ports, but at this point, like, the more the merrier. Some of those games are kind of old. Like, Xenoblade as a finale was kind of weird, because that's like a really old game. That should have been somewhere in the middle and not the finale, but I thought overall it was a pretty strong showing from Nintendo. And when I think about what the lineup looks like in the immediate term, I'm just like, whoa, there's so much. And I'm pretty much not buying anything for the other platforms for the rest of the year. I could keep myself busy with just Nintendo Switch stuff between now and the end of the year.
I did it! I did!
I mean, that's neither a good or bad thing, it's just a thing. And that's probably how I'll lean. I think, so, like, what are the big releases on PS4, Xbox coming up? Like, Death Stranding, I don't really care about that one, and I totally didn't prepare Cyril for this fight at all.
I stand ready.
Yeah, Death Stranding. Oh. Randy says, being spoiled about Overwatch and Terry took a lot of the excitement from the presentation. Yeah, those would have been huge had we not known about those announcements. And unfortunately, those got leaked in advance, so still great news, but the excitement of those definitely got watered down. And Terry Bogard would have been like a really out of left field choice as well. Well, it was an out of left field choice, but it would have been more exciting to have not known about that in advance.
I guess it worked out. I guess.
We'll send that over. Oh, Cyril, you're so useless right now.
You were outmatched. I don't have.
I was trying to think about like Nintendo and Nintendo Direct and the idea of I had this idea of like writing a post about the best and worst Nintendo Directs. But that would require a lot of research. Like off the top of my head, I can't just sit here and recite like, oh yeah, this one Direct that had this, and this. Or this other one. Like I'm sure I know there are some good Directs and some bad Directs, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you which ones were good and which ones were not. Oh, nice. Good dodge, Marianne. Generally speaking, though, I love the Nintendo Direct as a... I mean, like, really, it's a commercial. Let's be real here. But the idea of getting every couple of months, Nintendo just drops these big announcements, like just a whole bunch of different gaming news. It's like having E3 every other month or something like that. It's neat, and I like having that information flow. Versus just waiting, or like getting all of this stuff piecemeal, or like one shot in E3. Just having more of a... Getting that stuff at a more consistent flow is really nice.
Won that.
Get him, Raphael.
Huh.
I remember when Nintendo did its first Direct at E3, and everyone took it as them cheaping out on a conference. Yeah, Nintendo was playing 4D chess on that one. They thought, oh, they're just saving money, not being there, and it ended up becoming like a core part of their strategy, where the Nintendo Direct is a huge part of the experience of being a Nintendo fan and being a video game fan. Like, Nintendo is the best. Like, Microsoft and Sony have tried to copy it, and they have their own versions of those shows now, and they're not nearly as good. And not just in present, like, and not even just in, like, the value of the news that they are distributing, but just the presentation's not there, the excitement, the... Nintendo Directs are basically advertisements, but they don't feel like it. And they come off as, like, it's content. It's content that I really want to see and experience. You were about to say the same thing. It used to get knocked, and everyone is now doing it. Yep. It was smart. It's weird, like, at times Nintendo is just so behind the times, and in other ways they are light years ahead of everybody else. I just wish, like, they could pull it all together. Maybe someday. Okay, I'm gonna assume that Hilda's gonna be able to take this hit. I could be wrong though, and this could backfire horribly. Oh, we could silence that guy? Yeah, we'll silence him. Because why not? It seems like such a waste of time now to fill an auditorium with journalists just to show off games. I mean, there's a little more going on than that. Like, they get to try the stuff out right after and things like that. But you're right. If it's strictly a matter of distributing news to the people that need to hear it, the journalists can get it just as fast through a direct as they can from inviting them all out to the event. That said, I think it's always been a dream of mine to go to E3, and I would love to do that someday still. Even if it's kind of pointless.
Who knew?
Sure, they get to try out the games after they leave the auditorium. But even then, like, just release the demos. Something I can sort out. Yeah, the auditorium is part of the wasteful part. Yeah, this is true. We don't really need it anymore, but it would be exciting to be part of that. Oh, geez. Nope, definitely not using... Oh, wow. This guy gets messed up bad.
Whoa, look at those...
I'm not setting a...
Yeah, we'll send those gauntlets out. Who needs the XP? Cyril, can you do anything here? Nope. Nope, of course you can't. Marianne, how about you?
I'm really sorry.
I think when we talk about E3 presentations, I think, was it the Wii Music one for Nintendo was the worst. I remember being so sad as a Nintendo fan watching that E3 and just feeling like, what happened to the Nintendo I used to know and love? This is not what I signed up for at all. And I think that one had like Shaun White too with the Wii balance board, and he was snowboarding and...
Naturally.
It was tough. I think some of the other worst ones, I think it was also the PlayStation 3, where they revealed the PlayStation 3 and the giant enemy crabs and Ridge Racer and all that stuff. And $599 US. Oh. The worst one I can think of in recent memory. I mean, this isn't even that recent. The Xbox One reveal was atrocious. That really set the system up for failure. Pretty much from that point on. I was ready to completely ignore the PlayStation 4 because the Xbox 360 was my go-to platform. And I had a PlayStation 3. I didn't use it much. But when the Xbox One, they revealed it, and all they kept talking about was TV, sports, and pretty much anything other than gaming, I went, oh no, what have they done? I really hope they turn this around, and it took them a really long time to do it, and it was too late. It was already too late. I mean, they've turned it around in the sense that they have the most powerful console in the Xbox One X. I don't know if it's outpaced the Xbox 360, but it's selling well. It's just not putting up PS4 numbers, which is, unfortunately, its direct competitor, and now one of the greatest selling systems of all time. Oh, I'm not going to get a good clean hit on this guy unless I burn the Sword of Creator. And they dodged it too. I like that Sylvain just has one archer with him. Clearly I did not replenish my battalion. If you're just tuning in, I'm Jet from inthirdperson.com, a personal look at video games, board games, other nerdy pursuits. We're talking about the Nintendo Direct, playing some Fire Emblem as well. And I guess, yeah, just kind of deviated into some of the best and worst conferences of all time. One of my favorites, if you can find it on YouTube. I remember reading about it in video game magazines. The successor to the 3DO was this console called the M2, and magazines were hyping this thing up forever as being like the second coming. Actually, I'm gonna wait here. It had so much press at the time as going to be the future of video games, more powerful than anything we've ever seen from any of the other platform holders. And you can find the presentation, the actual E3 presentation, on YouTube right now, and it's strikingly different from anything that happens now. It was literally a bunch of executives in suits at a hotel ballroom, and they just ran through a PowerPoint presentation. And that was it. Like, it was very formal, and it was something else for sure. And it's funny seeing what they touted as being the most powerful console in the world at the time, because it certainly doesn't look like that now. To be fair, that was a long time ago. But oh, why is Lysikia got a bow? I don't remember giving her that.
Perfect comprehension.
Man, going on this tangent now, like, I loved buying, and this was a very short stretch of time, I loved buying the E3 editions of magazines. This is before the internet. Dating myself again, but before the internet, E3 would happen, and you got that news a month later from the magazines when they had time to come back and write about that stuff. And that magazine was always the biggest one. Well, okay, it was the biggest or the second biggest one. Christmas was usually the biggest one, but they had all the previews in there, and I was like, oh my goodness, these are the games that I'm going to buy and look forward to for the next 2 years. Man, just the whole media experience with video games has changed so much. Can Marianne take a hit from whatever that archer is? I'm gonna say yeah. I trust the Marianne. You got this, right?
I can't afford to lose.
Like the cycle of video game news and reviews. Like at this point, I see hundreds of news stories a day. And like that's not even me like using Twitter to follow news and stuff, or you just get that stuff a mile a minute. And back in the day, I was buying magazines, and you'd get those like once a month. Well, you would buy... I think we can trade the steel sword. That's... okay. Yeah, you get the video game magazines. There were 5 or 6 publications. There was your Game Pro, your EGM, your Game Fan, EGM2, a couple of other ones, and you'd buy them and you'd read those magazines again and again and again. Actually, yeah, it's fine. And so I read those magazines for, like, I read them so many times, and even if... just because, like, that was the thing, that was the content, that was all I had. And I enjoyed reading those articles again and again and again. And for me now, like, I see that news story once, the first person reported to me, I take that, and then I'm not seeing anybody else's version of that again, and I don't care. I read my 3 free issues of Nintendo Power so many... I read my 3 issues of Nintendo Power so many times. Yeah! I think I still have a couple of issues kicking around here. Like newer ones. I think I have the EGM launch issue where they reviewed the Wii versus the PS3 versus the Xbox 360. I have the EGM... I think they did like the top 100 games of their time. And a couple of other ones. Most of them I threw out. No, it would have been nice to have those now. And Lysithia hoarding all the keys. Who needs to open that door? Okay. Yeah, give me a door key.
Well done.
Yeah, at this point, video game magazines are pretty much dead. Like, all you can... There's a handful that exist, and I think a lot of them are more long-form, editorial in nature. And I think that's fine. That's probably the right way to do it. At this point. Yeah, those were the days. I I feel very nostalgic about video game magazines as a medium, but there really isn't much of a point to them anymore. Oh man, Hilda's gonna get blown up. Everyone's gonna get blown up here. I don't like this setup at all. Eee, that's not good either. Okay. What were your favorite video game magazines growing up? When I think back of the ones that I really cared for, I loved EGM. That was my favorite. I think I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the 4-person reviews and just getting different perspectives on those games meant a lot. And I loved Quarterman as well with the rumor section. Although I've heard now that at times they did just make stuff up in those sections. Eee. I'm scared here. I think my squad's gonna get blown up really bad. But I think I want to take 1-1-1 rather than Raphael eating all of it. So let's do that.
Don't waste it.
Nice. Okay, that didn't turn out too bad. EGM was a big one. I liked Die Hard Game Fan. I hear a lot of people throw shade at that magazine nowadays. At the time, I really liked it because they had the best pictures. They had the best screenshots of anyone at the time. And they also had a lot of original art as well, which I really liked. A lot of hand-drawn stuff, and they had their mascot with the screen on his head. Randy says, EGM was probably my favorite, but I like Nintendo Power too. I feel like I would have had more of an attachment to Nintendo Power if I grew up with it. But that was a magazine we didn't get till really late. And they didn't have it on the newsstand here. I think you had to subscribe. So I just didn't see it until you started getting it.
Thank you.
And by then, like, we had the internet, and the luster, the appeal of those magazines was not the same.
I'll celebrate later.
GamePro was okay. GamePro was the very first video game magazine I ever got. And I'll never forget it. It was...
You lost to me?
It was my birthday in, I think, 1993. And my friend Fez got me, for my birthday, a Toronto Blue Jays hat. It was my first... I think it was a Toronto Blue Jays hat and a copy of GamePro. And it was a Street Fighter 2 Turbo cover on it. And it had a bunch of Street Fighter combos and strategies in it as well. And yeah, I read that thing over and over again. I didn't even have Street Fighter at the time, and I wasn't into it like that back then, but I read that stuff, and I like basically studied it, even though I just wasn't playing Street Fighter like that at the time.
Let's do this.
EGM 2 I didn't really read. That was more like strategy guides. Tips and tricks. Oh man, I forgot about that one. Like, even just the concept of tips and tricks, like, you can't... That's not a magazine anymore. That's not even a website anymore. Because there are no tips and tricks. It's now... Spend money on this loot box.
I call that a win.
while we're here, let me take a moment to send some thank yous out to people. Let me just go take a quick look at this list. Just want to give a shout out to everybody hosting the channel this evening. So shout outs to jsick06, Jason, of course, over at downstab.com. Thank you so much for hosting the channel. Man, I've known Jason now for a long time. Just waxing nostalgic now. We met each other through our WordPress blogs like roughly 9 years ago. And we actually got to meet IRL a couple years ago in Vegas. We just happened to be there at the same time. And it's awesome. We did the podcast together and do Boss Rush together as well. So shoutouts to Jason. Twitch.tv/jsick06. Shoutouts to Later Levels. Twitch.tv/Later Levels. Kim and Phil, they run one of my favorite gaming blogs online. And I read their site all the time. And so yeah, I know Kim streams regularly. So yeah, definitely give her channel a look, especially if you like point and click style adventure games, which every time I tune into her channel, that seems to be what she's streaming more often than not. Does Ignatz have the key? Yeah, he's got the
ready anytime.
Shoutouts to Too Tall For You Fool, Justin, of course.
So you have
over at tootallforYouFool.com. He's been starting to ramp up his streaming stuff as well. Of course, our relationship is complicated in light of a certain basketball player leaving my team for his. And I will forever bring that up because it's going to be the reason why my team is going to be not as good for a very long time. And one more. Shoutouts to twitch.tv/xdoublejump. Shoutouts to Chris and Rachel. Of course. Do I have the button? We got... Which button are we going to hit this time? Oh yeah, that one. There we go. Shoutouts to both of them. I know Chris is heavily deep in her Fire Emblem 3 Houses playthrough. And of course, they've been a huge supporter of me for a very long time now, so shoutouts to twitch.tv/xdoublejump. Make sure to go and check out their website and their channel. Twitch.tv/xdoublejump and doublexjump.com. As we move forward,
I'm a bit uneasy. Huh? It worked out.
I wonder what that is. Looks like you can use it, but who knows what'll happen.
stab him. There we go.
Be gone.
What's next?
That's a crazy lance, by the way.
Guess I've gotten better.
I'm pretty sure I've had that in my other playthroughs. I just hadn't really looked at it until just then. Flip the switch. I can't remember which thing goes to where. Oh well. Since we're on the subject, I mean, within the context of me playing Fire Emblem right now, is Fire Emblem your current game of the year?
Predictable.
I think for me it is. It was Tetris 99. It's been kind of a quiet year, to be honest, for me in terms of games I've been playing. It definitely looks like it's going to pick up in the back half of the year between Pokemon and...
Ready anytime.
Please tell me that's the... Hey, that's the one with the thing. Do I have the chest key, though? No, I do not. No one has the chest key. Amazing. Okay. Well, Ignatz is just going to guard that box. Actually, who has the chest key here? One of you guys does. Door key. Door key. Chest key. Oh, I need Lysithea, though. Okay, who can I... Cyril, you're useless. Let me give you this key. You've got an important job, kid. Wait. No, you have to take the chest key. And, yeah, give me the door key. Wait. And Ian says, I think with so much stuff coming out at the end of the year, it may be too soon to say. I would guess it'll end up being Fire Emblem, though based on my check notes. 140 hours of playtime so far. Yeah, where are you at right now? I saw screenshots. I believe you're now playing Black Eagles. And if you are, how's that going? And how did you find your Blue Lions play if you have wrapped that up? I would imagine you've wrapped that up at this point. My Blue Lions point, I have gotten to the battle at Garreg Mach. I was actually... What sucks is I was in the middle of that mission and I had to start the stream, and because you can't... You can bookmark it at best, but you can't, like, save it and then pick it up later. Like, start a new file and pick it up later, so I kind of lost that play and I'll have to start again. Yeah, for me, I have a hard time seeing any game beat 3 houses. Like, the bit I've played of Link's Awakening, that's gonna be fun, but it's a remake, and I also have some technical concerns about it based on what I've seen so far. I'm guessing Nintendo will sort it out, but I don't think that's gonna be Game of the Year material. Luigi's Mansion looks really nice. I was watching Nintendo Prime yesterday, and he was saying that that game is a Game of the Year contender, and I am reluctant to go that far, but Luigi's Mansion looked really nice from what I played of it at Fan Expo. The jump in graphical horsepower makes a big difference in that game, and it looks gorgeous.
Should have trained better.
And I don't know if Pokemon's gonna do it. Like, I'm just... Pokemon doesn't click with me like that, so... I don't foresee a reality where Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be a legit Game of the Year contender for me. It'll be good, though. I'll play it and I'll enjoy it. And Ian says, I'm very early in my Black Eagles run, and I'm doing a weird kind of playthrough to write a guide, so we'll see how that goes. I enjoyed the Blue Lions. In some ways, I wish I had done that group before Golden Deer. There were certain aspects of the story that I liked better. I will say, having seen some stuff now on the Blue Lions, the scene that happens just before this battle, I liked a lot. I think when Dimitri shows his true colors is definitely something, and a turning point for the story that I really enjoyed. Time Oh man, we're like an hour and a half in. We're probably not going to squeeze any more missions in. It's probably going to be we finish this up, we get some supports, we chat a little bit, and then we close it out. Ooh.
Allow me to demonstrate. Should I have held back?
Oh wait, Cyril was supposed to open the... Oh man, you had one job, bro. I forgot he had to open the door. Okay, it doesn't matter now. We're gonna finish off this guy and then that's it.
Woof. Plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, that was intense. His character arc is definitely interesting. He goes through a lot more change, whereas Claude is pretty consistent throughout. Yeah, the more I play the game, the Blue Lion side, the more I enjoy... more I enjoy Dimitri. I thought at first blush he was the most boring of the characters, but he definitely has stuff going on. And Edelgard is definitely the most divisive of the bunch. It was really interesting watching that particular reveal from the other side, like having played it as I'm going to stay with Edelgard versus not be on the other side of that. And it was really interesting how I perceive those things. I'm not going to go into spoilers too much, but...
You'll have more opportunities to play soon. Your work here is done.
Understood. I will go.
We will cross.
I think by virtue of what she means to the story and the way things branch out for her, she is definitely like a very interesting character, and not my favorite, but I think there is a lot going on there.
He's gone. We should get these two out of here.
I was so annoyed by the scene, I was setting everyone up to kill the Death Knight. I think you can do it.
Get out of this horrible place.
I think you just have to make sure the Death Knight is not the last one standing. Or at the very least, you can attack him. MVP Ignatz. She had a really interesting quote at the end of the Blue Lion's run. I'm excited to see what she is like up close.
My, thank you so much.
Yeah, there's so much going on. You can defeat the Death Knight in this match, but he escapes with his life either way. Ah.
You actually found Flayn? Nice work.
It is a shame you could not be there, Claude. I would have liked for you to witness our mortal struggle against the Death Knight.
Hey, at least we managed to rescue Flayn and complete our mission. That's what counts, right? Right. Excellent work, everyone. Now then, let's get these limp ladies to the infirmary, shall we?
No problem. I can carry them both at once.
Be gentle with them, Raphael. Let us carry each one individually and slowly.
You know, Teach, seeing you smile sure makes me feel better. You look happy for a change.
Claude. I love you too, bro.
Do you really not know? Well, truth is, I've never seen you smile before now. At times, it made me wonder whether you were even human. But I suppose that was just my imagination running wild. Anyhow, we've probably kept Seteth waiting about as long as he can stand. Let's hurry up and tell him the great news.
Alright, once we get to the safe point... Oh wait, no, I want to...
Please allow me to express my eternal gratitude once more. Flayn is safe and sound, and I have you to thank for that. Mere words could never express how thankful I am. I am indebted to you. Yes, of course. I shall express my gratitude to the students as well.
I've got another big question. Big question. And you're probably not going to be able to answer this off the top of your head, but...
The one known as the Death Knight. Considering the circumstances, it seems plausible to assume that his true identity is Yaritza. And we cannot forget about the mysterious Flame Emperor. His true motives are yet unclear. However, I have an idea. I believe the enemy may have been after Flayn's blood. The blood that flows through her veins is special. It is extremely rare, and extremely dangerous. If enemies who know the secrets of Flayn's blood have appeared, our only option is to leave the monastery and go into hiding.
Brother, wait.
Flayn, what are you doing here? You should be resting.
I do not like the path of your thoughts. I do not wish to live in some...
And Ian says, ha, that's funny that the thing you said about me not being human. No way that's true, of course. That's just silly. Yep.
If we stay here, you may be targeted again. Wouldn't it be better for the two of us to live in peace?
Even if we ran off to some new, secret location, there is no guarantee that they would not find us.
Yep.
That is why I believe it would be safest to stay in the monastery, where we are surrounded by capable knights.
I see your point.
Sorry to cut you off there, Flayn.
However...
You know it is the only reasonable option. What if I were to join the professor's class? You think so too? I am so very pleased to hear that. With a professor like you nearby, I shall be safe no matter what foe should appear.
I see. I am afraid you have a good point. Professor, due to my position, I have closely scrutinized everything about you. After all that has happened, I must admit that you are indeed
sorry about that.
A trusted ally. I shall speak with the Archbishop immediately. Please, promise to look after Flayn. She is all I have.
I am so glad that Flayn is safe. Yet I can't help but wonder what the story is about that other girl. She wore the uniform of the academy. But who is she?
Give me that scarf.
Well done, Professor. I see that I was right to ask your class for assistance. I have been told that Manuela and Flayn are recovering nicely, as is Monica.
Who's Monica?
Monica, the girl you rescued along with Flayn, is also a student of the Officers' Academy. However...
As soon as this is done, I have like a huge question to ask you guys.
She went missing. It never occurred to us that something might have happened to her at the monastery. We assumed she had run away. I never dreamed that we would find her. Not like this.
Monica has asked to rejoin the Black Eagle House once she has fully recovered. Our enemies are still out there, so we must remain cautious and continue our investigation. However, we must also help the students to move on from this incident.
After all, the Battle of the Eagle and Lion will be held in Gronder Field next month.
Yes, the students will remember it for the rest of their lives. Please guide them so that they may show us their best at the coming battle.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, you'll be going to Gronder Field next month. You've never been there before, have you? There is unease in the western side of the Empire, but everything east of the capital, Enbar, is stable. Well, there was a noble rebellion a short while ago, but it didn't amount to much. Sorry, but I've got my own mission, and it's far from Gronder Field. The Church has always been quick to make use of those who work for them. What I'm more concerned about is finding out who among us is pulling the strings. Ever since the Rite of Rebirth, strange groups have been seen around Garreg Mach and elsewhere too. There was also an incident where some knights investigating these suspicious strangers turned up dead. Not that it's likely, but if something like that ever happens to me, search this room, every corner, behind every shelf. I'm going to leave something for you. Don't just nod solemnly. There's nothing to worry about. I'm just being cautious. Then again, I guess you're always solemn.
I wonder why. Okay. Here's my big question for the group. It's 2019. This decade's just about
Part
done.
1. White Cloud.
What is
Wyvern Moon.
your game of the
Field
decade
of the Eagle
when we
and
think
Lion.
2010 to 2019 and you think back on that entire chunk of time?
From on high,
What is your number one game of that era?
Skies, heading south for the winter.
I was working
Vulcan's
on a
children
post
lend their
as
hands
part
to
of the
winter
10 years of
preparations
In
by
Third
gathering
Person series
firewood and catching
that
fish for
kind of
rivers
touches
and
on it, but the time
Yet all the while,
the
their
time is
gazes
different.
are turned
I'm
skyward,
using a different
drawn to
scale,
the
and so I've
magnificent
written
sight
down
of
some
God.
games. I didn't put them in a numerical order, but I have some games here when I think about games that made an impact during that time that I've been blogging. And I'm looking at this list trying to pick, like, what would my game of the decade be? And yeah, some of these aren't of the decade because they came out before. But oh man, there's some big ones on here that did come out in time though. I'm looking at this list and I'm gonna write these down. And I don't know the release dates on all of these, so some of them may not count. Looking at this list, I know Pokemon Go definitely came out in the decade, and that is a game that has gotten a lot better over time, introduced me to the concept of AR games. I play that game every day. I'm level 40. I could probably get close to level 40 with a second account at this point. It's the game that really got me into Pokemon and introduced me to this whole other genre of gaming that is really cool and that I enjoy. Pokemon Go is going to be game of the decade. Not the game of the decade. It is a game of the decade. I'm writing down this list, trying to do some math here. Mass Effect 2. I'm pretty sure that came out in this decade. And holy cow, every time I think about some of the best games I played this decade, I think about that one. That was such an incredible action RPG that just got everything right. The way it told the story, characters that you really cared about, decisions that mattered. Well, okay. By the time you got to 3, some weird stuff happened. But in the moment, playing that game, it was spectacular. And I think back on that game and its moments so fondly that it is going to be up there, and it might actually be my game of the decade. Breath of the Wild is going to be up there. I don't think it's actually going to be my game of the decade. It was my game of the year when that game came out, and it was phenomenal. But would I put that up against... Like, first, I think for a lot of people, Breath of the Wild is going to be game of the decade. I don't know if it's going to be my game of the decade, but I think it's absolutely a valid choice. And it's in my top 10, for sure. Celeste, I don't know again, but that's another one. I've played through that game twice now, and I love it to bits. It's on the short list for sure. Telltale's The Walking Dead, I don't think that's my game of the decade, but it's definitely one that stood out from this decade and one that I think back fondly on, and it really opened my eyes to that kind of modern adventure genre as well. It was my game of the year that came out too. Catherine, another one. That's probably not game of the decade, but man, that game was so cool, and I think about it a lot still. It's probably here. Like this list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unless I'm missing something. And let me flip the camera around here. And I don't even know if you can... Oh, man. You can't read that writing at all. One of those 6 games, if I really think about it, is probably my game of the decade. For whatever that's worth. Actually, I should write that game of the decade as an idea to write about. And I'll have to do some more research and do some soul searching and really think about the games that impacted me and what it would be. Now, Randy says Splatoon 2, Puyo Tetris, Overwatch, Night in the Woods. Okay. I haven't played Night in the Woods. Splatoon 2, yeah, amazing. Puyo Tetris, not really for me. I like that one though. Tetris 99 might be in my in the running Fire Emblem is probably in the running. Overwatch is on that list as well. But I picked that. I mean, you picked it up even later than me, but you also have played it more than I have. So I think if I were thinking about games from the last decade, 2000 to 2009, that's a much easier list for me. I think it is Street Fighter 4 and it is Rock Band. Oh, sucked Marianne.
Dear goddess, I ask for guidance. Professor, I suppose you came by to pray too?
Looking back, Just Shapes and Beats is probably my game of the year 2018. I remember you really wanted to do that for Extra Life last year. I don't know if you actually got around to it. If you had your overnight shift, you would be able to do that, no problem.
Nothing specific. I only call upon the goddess to give thanks, or perhaps to ask for protection. Anyhow, I should be on my way. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't really know what to say. I'm not very good at talking to people. The truth is, I didn't interact with people too often before I came here. Oh, no particular reason.
Oh, why are you lying, Marianne?
I'm simply
talk
not
to me.
very good at it. That's just how I am. Thank you. I'm sorry. You shouldn't waste your time worrying about me. Please, just ignore me. I, have to be going now. Goodbye, Professor.
I know that, Randy says, I know a lot of people have streamed it without running into copyright trouble, with the sole exception of one of the late game songs, but I didn't want to risk it. Ah, okay. Yeah, copyright's still something I'm very iffy on as well. Yeah, streaming that stuff, and like, it wouldn't be a problem if...
It's finally time. The battle of the
If I wasn't using the stuff also on YouTube, where you could get copyright strikes, or like I upload these highlights to Instagram after the fact, so that's an issue as well.
You're kidding. Didn't Rhea or Seteth fill you in? Guess I have to do everything myself around here. The Battle of the Eagle and Lion is one of the Academy's annual traditions.
Alright, tell me more.
It's a huge mock battle between the three rival houses.
But you know all about rivalry battles, Professor. There was one right after you got here, remember? I hear the Battle of the Eagle and Lion will be held in Gronder Field.
I always found it weird. This is the Battle of the Eagle and the Lion, but the Golden Deer are in this fight too. Why did they not get included?
It's a three-way battle that relies heavily on strategy. Sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Hey, Claude. What about Professor Manuela? Do you think she'll be able to join us despite her injuries?
I'm afraid she's sitting this one out, as is Professor Hanneman.
As my persistent rival will not be present, it only goes to follow that I must also sit out this year's battle. Now leave me be, Claude.
That's a pretty good impression of Hanneman.
Oh, don't worry about us. You know you want to see the kids in action.
If it isn't our own Professor Manuela, all things considered, you're looking well.
And Randy says, oh man, Super Mario Odyssey is definitely on the decade list. That is a fantastic game as well. Oh, dude, one that didn't make that list, but one that I think of super fondly. Pikmin 3. I'm sure I could talk myself into all sorts of games. I think I need to stick with that list of 6. I think all 6 of those games I have named Game of the Year throughout the decade and are probably
thanks to all of you.
The super short
I'd
list.
only be a burden out there. My students don't need to see me collapsed. Well, not on the battlefield anyway.
Ow, ow.
Does that mean you really won't be joining us for the battle?
Correct. We will not be participating. Regardless, do not expect victory to come easily, or at all.
Well put. We've spent the past few months pushing our students to their limits. You can see me in the infirmary after they destroy you.
My, look at you. If you're as confident as all that, my students will walk all over you.
We have taught our students well. There is no need to hold back. Challenge them with everything you have.
Oh, we will. We will. Oh.
Better than before.
Got a grasp on this. I think it's coming along. Oh, yeah.
Not as hard as I thought.
I understand more.
This isn't so hard.
Everybody learning. Good stuff. Okay, we're winding down the end. We probably should get to these supports. And if you're just tuning in, my question for the group is, what is your game of the decade from 2010 to 2019? I know the decade's not quite over yet, and there's some big releases coming up. Some people are going to want to throw Death Stranding in there, Gears 5, Luigi's Mansion maybe, whatever it might be. But thinking about the games you've played this decade, you've got some time. We've got some supports to sit through here. I'm not going to do all of these. We'll do a couple. What's your game of the decade? I've narrowed it down, at least for now, to a list of 6 games for me that are heavy contenders for game of the decade, and that would be Pokemon Go, Mass Effect 2, Breath of the Wild, Celeste. I think we can cross Walking Dead and Catherine off that list. I like those games. And I think I would probably... I don't think Breath of the Wild would be on my... I don't think it would be my personal game of the decade. That's gone. Which leaves Pokemon Go, Mass Effect 2, and Celeste. I don't know what the actual game of the decade for me is, but I'm curious to hear what your picks would be. Randy's already thrown out a couple in there. So what for everybody else? What are your picks? What is your... Listen to your heart. What is your game of the decade?
Of course. It's a pain, but I make sure to always send him a response. Otherwise, he'll worry. It's much easier than when we lived together. A few letters here and there are a small price to pay for this peaceful, brother-free environment.
Well, that's a fine thing to do regardless of your reasons. As for me, it's been far too long since I've written to my parents.
Oh, I thought your father had died.
Not quite. He's still alive and kicking, as far as I know. The late Duke who died in an accident was my uncle.
I see. I do recall you mentioning that your mother was born into the Regan family. What's your father like, if you don't mind me asking?
This is actually really important stuff.
He's quite the extravagant character. When I was a kid, he used to tie me to a horse and drag me around.
Excuse me?
In all fairness, I was quite a little brat. The horse thing sounds worse than it is. There's sort of a trick to it.
A trick I hope I never need to learn. Your mother didn't step in and make him stop?
Gods no, she'd just laugh right along with him. If my father is extravagant, my mother's more like a warrior goddess, or maybe a demon queen. This one time, she got into an argument with my combat instructor and wound up in a full-on fist fight.
Wow.
What's more, she won. My instructor was a mighty warrior, undefeated in 100 battles, but even he was no match for her.
Huh? But your mother is a lady of nobility.
True, but she was the kind of woman to elope with the man she loved and throw it all away. Not your average duchess at all.
Ooh, they eloped. I like that. It's so romantic. Imagine abandoning your family forever to be with the one you love. Not everyone can do that.
It's not a question of can, it's a question of will. Even someone like you who generally despises effort will pull out all the stops for something you really care about. Isn't that right?
Excuse me? I put in plenty of effort.
Hey, that was a compliment. Anyhow, I look forward to the day when something inspires you to try your absolute hardest. It will be something to behold.
That was a really nice chat. I like that one. Yeah, we'll do like this. This is gonna be the last one. I need to find a better way of doing these supports.
My head slipped again.
Hey, what's that noise? What are you doing?
Sorry. I'm sorry, okay? Another fine mess I've gotten myself into.
What happened, Claude? You're soaked.
The student whose turn it was to do the dishes today was ill, so I volunteered to take his place. The dining hall lady was on my case the whole time for breaking plates and getting water everywhere. Actually, not everywhere, mostly on myself. It was just one big mess. It wore me right out, too. I could really use a nap about now.
You might be a noble with a fancy bloodline, but you sure don't act the part.
Also, my Blue Lines playthrough, I finally recruited a student. It was really hard, but I finally got one right at the breaking point. I got Leonie on my team. She was the one that I focused really hard to try and get, and I got her.
Being noble or common doesn't have anything to do with washing dishes.
Oh, I dare say most nobles would refuse to do it. But hey, I prefer it your way. You don't act like you're better than everyone.
I'm honored that you acknowledge my greatness. And I'm rather fond of your blunt way of praising a person's strengths, too.
Really? To be honest, I don't actually trust my own ability to read people. I like to look for the good in them, but that doesn't always mean it's really there. I mean, you seem like a good person, but your heart could be black for all I know.
You say you can't figure people out, but what you said just now was pretty shrewd. It's wise not to trust appearances alone.
I'll keep that in mind. Though, I'm not sure I should be taking advice from someone covered in dish suds.
Oh, yeah, I see your point.
Okay. Let's save here. I think this is a good spot. We're at like the 2-hour mark on this stream, and I don't want to end the stream with you guys sitting through another half hour or so of supports. That's just not the best way to close this out. So yeah, game of the decade. I think my personal short list is Pokemon Go, Mass Effect 2, Celeste. Let me do some soul searching. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll write about it on the blog at inthirdperson.com and go from there. I've had this crazy idea of naming Game of the Year for every year I've been alive, and then realizing how old I am and realizing that that would be a lot of work. Unless, let's say, I did it as a one-sentence thing of like, hey, 2004, it was this. Or I would have called it this. And just wrote a one-sentence blurb. That could be fun as well. But I also don't want to let people know how old I actually am, too. So I don't know if I would actually do that. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Randy. Thank you to everybody that hosted the channel today. Later Levels, Double Jump, Jason, and Justin over at Too Tall For You Fool. We will be back on Saturday streaming the wrong game. Like, we should be streaming Overwatch because Overwatch is coming to the Switch. But we're streaming Paladins instead because I really wanted to play Paladins. I didn't realize that the Switch, the Overwatch announcement for Switch was going to happen this soon. I thought I had a bit more time to squeeze Paladins in there, but we're just going to make it happen. I started playing that game a little bit in advance of the stream, and that game is still fun. And I love to cape for that game whenever I get the chance. So we'll stream that again. And on Saturday, September is happening. I still don't have my approved emotes there, so there's no real point in me talking about it other than, hey, if you want to subscribe to another channel, you can get their emote for half price and get ad-free viewing and all of that stuff. I don't have the emote. I've only got right now, unfortunately, the tier 3. Like, if you want to be a super champ and donate like $25 a month, that was ridiculous. That's a lot. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can just hang out here for free, and that's cool too. You would get, and why is it not showing? Like, just show me my emojis. It's giving me like everything except my own. There we go. My emotes. There. Yeah, I got to the champ one for the tier 3, which is super cute. And shout out to Laura again for drawing that one for me. But again, like 25, like that's a lot. That's a lot. Don't do that unless you, like, really, really love me. Even my wife doesn't subscribe at tier 3. Yeah, she hits me with the Amazon Prime, so it's not even her actual money. Yeah, we'll be back on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. We'll be playing Paladins, hanging out, and make sure to follow me. Check out the website, inthirdperson.com, posting there every day. Of course, I've got more articles coming up, including a detailed breakdown on my spray paint art, which you can see it in the back. Look at that piece right there. I got it framed up now. Super proud of that one. And Ian says, thank you for the stream. Have a good week. Thank you so much, Ian. I hope you have a great week as well. I will see you around. And yeah, we're about to wrap up here as well. So yeah, I've got a blog post about going into more detail about the process of spray painting stuff that looks like that, among other video game stuff as well. So check out the website. Check me out on Instagram and on Twitter. And let's get out of here, guys. Good night, everybody.